Jesus Christ, they came to him one time, they say, no one that does the kind of work that you do, keep it in secret. They want everybody to know. So there are some men of God like that everything they are doing, they just feel, I don't need anybody to know. Let me just be doing my work. But by not allowing others to know, people have concluded that people like you don't exist. And they are now following the ones that are just. So we need to let people know, let that light shine so that men may see your good work and then glorify God.
I like the points you made. I was particularly heartened when you were listing the three types, and you mentioned Apollos and the training he got from Aquila and Priscilla, and little wonder that Paul later alluded to Apollos when he said, I planted, Apollos watered.
Yeah.
So in other words, Apollos carried on the work, and God kept making it grow. And also to your point, didn't Paul also say to the Romans that I bear them witness that they have a zeal but not according to knowledge. Like some translations say, use the word accurate, accuracy of the knowledge. In these things that you just mentioned, I'm sitting here and thinking, how do I bring this together with what people perceive and complain about to be the lavish lifestyles of a number of men known as men of God, who I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. So I want to hear your thoughts.
Okay, well, you see, it's a function of a lot of things. Many times, a lot of people don't have the understanding of the way church works. So there are definitely fake pastors, fake churches, but there are genuine pastors everywhere. There is no fake without original, because the fake has to come and see what original is and duplicate it in their own fake way. So when you see a lot of people that are extravagant, you need to ask them what kind of person. There are some people that are just like that. Whether they were, even if they were not pastors, they will still be like that. There are a lot of men out there that are bleaching their skin, bling around. They don't have money, but the little money they have is because that is who they are. It's not about they became Christians, but who they are. Some people love cars. So whether he's a pastor or not, he will love cars. Some people love shoes. Whether he's a pastor, he will love shoes. So it's just his person. But because of the mindset we have about who a pastor should be and how a pastor should dress, how a pastor should look, we have stereotyped who a pastor should be and how a pastor should be. So it affects the way we see some of those things. That being said, some people are just completely vain. They are just completely vain. And I think it still boils down to this poverty mentality. And, when you have never seen money before, you never thought you could see money, and money now comes. It has a way of turning people mad, that what they need, what they don't need, they'll be hustling for it. So I personally believe that all we need is balance. So when people talk about extravagance, what is extravagance? Because extravagance is relative. There are a lot of pastors that are from rich, extremely wealthy families. Even before they came into Christ, they already had money. They've been doing business class, they've been doing private jet before they got born again. As from the day they were children, their parents are billionaires. So now that I'm a Christian, I should now stop doing what I used to do because I'm not a Christian. If I have a conviction to change that kind of life, I will. If I have a conviction to say, look, let this go as part of your sacrifice, I will. But if I'm already living that kind of life, why should I cut down on my life because I want to fit into your picture of what a pastor should look like? And the challenge is that many times people think that way because the few people they see. I can sit down here and let you know that for every of those pastors you see that seem to be carrying 5 cars, 6 cars, private jet, for everyone, there are 10,000 pastors that cannot afford to pay their rents. 10,000. So those people you see, they are what we call the 1% of the 1% of the 1%. That is not the reality of everybody. So people think that there was a time, a particular day, some journalists, they say, just like you are saying, oh, you pastors, church is the new business now. You start church and you start making money. And in my characteristics manner, I looked at him. I said, then you must be a fool. The guy was shocked. I said, because if it's easy to start a church and make money, why are you a journalist and poor? You should just go and start your own now and see how easy it is. It was like, wow, because they didn't expect the answer from people. I said, you're a fool. It's easy to they just gather. Go and gather and see how easy. It's not true. A lot of pastors, do you know how much diesel is now? Do you know how much we spend on this? So people don't understand that there is an organism and an organization dimension to church. I can tell you for free that for all those churches you see that seem that they have so much money, when you go inside, you will see so much debt, so much unpaid bills, so much debt, because it's the picture you see. But when you come in, you realize that it's not always like that. So for me, I'm not for that extra. I'm not, because I don't love those things. Maybe if I love it, I will do it. It's just not my style. But I will not judge somebody that has the money legitimately and he wants to do that. I won't judge him, because it's not the reason why people are angry is because they feel it's a poor society. This is church money. That is the thinking. This is church money. But it's not true. Yes, there are fake people that do that, but it's not true. I give you a true life story. Years ago, one elderly lady in our church called my assistant and said he wanted to see my assistant. And he said, hey, you know, all this need that we have in church and the way pastor travels, almost every time we see him everywhere. And this was years ago, not even now. Say that, and you know, pastor doesn't fly economy. That business class, we fly in business class. That all this church money that pastor is using to fly business class, we know he's on mission, but can't he do economy so that we can have some of this money to do some of the things we need in church? Shebi is the same plane. Shebi is the same time. Now my sister say, sorry ma, church money. No, that all the trips that pastor does, he pays by himself. Oh. That is his business that pays. Oh. He doesn't collect salary, he doesn't collect anything from church. The same woman in the same discussion flipped. What? You mean pastor is the one paying for everything? No wonder we are poor. You are not taking care of the man of God. No wonder. Only pastor is rich. All of us are here. How can the church not take care of him? The same woman in the same discussion. But when he told me, I said, I have to go to the pulpit and deal with this, because for her to have the boldness to call you into a meeting, they must have been discussing it. And that's why me, I don't have any secrets. I would just say, I hear this. So, and people know I'm a businessman. They know my business. They know what I so for me, I think that a lot of people are just angry because they feel that it's church money. These people are spending church money. Is that the way to spend church money? For majority of the people, it's not church money. And the ones that are church money, you need to go into the church to understand the system. Our church will be 30 years in December. If you come right now, we can show you 29 years, 28 years audited accounts. The 29th year is in process now. The audited account of them for 28 years is available. That you can come and check. All the money that has entered that church since 1995 from first service is documented. So how many pastors, how many churches can say that? But there are many people that can say that. But because we are not talking, they put everybody together. All these pastors, all these pastors. So yes, there are extravagant people. Yes, there are fake people. But I always say to people, you see, this life is demand and supply. As long as there is a demand for fake, unserious, there will always be a supply. If the fake pastor comes today and does the gaga, nobody answers him. He comes tomorrow, nobody answers him. He will start thinking of going back to God. But as long as there are people to respond, so I will not put the blame solely on the pastors. I will put the blame on the gullible, unserious, immature, stupid, and foolish Christians that allow themselves to be a pawn in the hands of these charlatans. Will you go to a salon where the barber messes up your hair? Will you carry your car to a mechanic that knocks your engine and messes up your car? Why will you carry your life to a church every Sunday, every week, to a pastor that you know is fake? Then you are also fake. Because it takes fake to support fake. If you go there and you see that this man is not genuine, he's not preaching the word, he's not living the word, his fruit is not aligned, you vote with your leg. If he comes the next Sunday, he gathers 200, next Sunday 180, next Sunday 150, next Sunday 120, next Sunday 80. After 2 months, he will go and pray and fast. Say, God, what? Then he will change. But if every time he comes, he does the razzmatazz, and next week they are increasing, he will continue the foolishness now because there is market for it.
Isn't it true that most people can't even tell the difference?
They can't tell because they are not genuinely saved and they are not committed to their work with God, which is what I said earlier. If you read the Bible for yourself, you see, when they train all these dogs, all these sniffer dogs, part of the training of the sniffer dogs is to get them to be used to whatever they want them to identify. So, for instance, the ones that are used for currencies, they put them in a vault where the money, dollars, everything, that's where they sleep. So they sleep on the dollars, they smell the dollar, that's part of the trend. So by the time they are used to dollars, when you bring fake dollar, why? Because this is not real. Something reacts in them. When you are used to the truth, when you know the truth, you can easily detect a lie. Because the same mouth that preaches truth is the same mouth that preaches lie. It's the same Peter that said, you will not die. Jesus Christ said, no, get it behind me, Satan, because briefly, the devil borrowed him and used him. It's the same Peter that said, thou art Christ, Son of the living God, in the same discourse. So if you know the truth for yourself, if you are a student of the word, you wake up every day. Father, thank you for a brand new day. I give you all the glory. Thank you for my wife. Thank you for my. You pray for everybody, and then you pick your Bible, depending if you have a Bible study regimen or you are doing book study, topical study, biographical study, whatever. You do your study, and then you pray, petition, worship, do whatever. If you have a devotional, you go through it. If you do that every day, the more you learn, when somebody is speaking and it's not in line, something in you will say, no, this, no. You know that there was a place in the Bible during the time of Elisha. The Bible said they went out to gather, they want to cook porridge. So they all went and they were all eating the porridge. It was not only one person eating. Everybody was eating and they were okay. And the Bible says, as one guy took it, he said, no, there's dirt in the pot. Why was he able to know that there was dirt in the pot? He was used to correct porridge. He knew that, no. So that's the way. So once you know the truth, you know, no, this thing. So it doesn't mean you will hate the man. It doesn't mean you will, you just know that this man is limited in what he knows. In this area, I don't agree with him. But this area, because the virtue in him is original. The virtue in him is perfect, but the vessel is imperfect. And that's why we are a work in progress. There are many things that we have taught and that people have taught and that our fathers have taught that they have come back 10 years later, 15 years later to say we're wrong. Some of them will never say they are wrong. And people are still working that software till tomorrow. And only personal encounter will save them. So what I will say is the solution is when you know God for yourself. Be a student of the Bible, be a student of prayer, be a student that connects with the Holy Ghost, a student of worship, and serve. Don't discard the local church. The local church is very important for your destiny. Because what the devil is doing now is he wants people to now say, no, I don't go to church anymore, I will do church for myself. It does not work like that.
I'm going to come back to that later.
Yeah.
But let me just ask you the specific one. Tithing.
Okay.
Your views.
Now, you see, when you look at the Bible, and I see people argue about some of these things, I'm like, who did this to us? And it still boils down to lack of understanding. So let's go back to the beginning. The word tithe or tithing was never in the Bible until Abraham shows up. And when Abraham shows up, Abraham was not a member of any church. Abraham did not have a pastor. But Abraham met with Melchizedek. And he says, I'm going to bring tithe of all that I have. So the very first time we see the word tithing mentioned in the Bible, it was Abraham.